I'll introduce Dany Brousseau as the product manager of forestry for Liebherr. They're a pioneer in handling wood products with material handlers. Liebherr brought to the industry new technology and specially designed products with cost effectiveness in mind. With over 20 years of experience with a manufacturing company, Dany Brousseau is now responsible for forestry sector with Liebherr Canada and brings solutions to outperform and reduce operating costs. Welcome, Dany.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Dany Brousseau, product manager for Liebherr Canada. Thank you for the sponsors that gave us the opportunity and the organizers giving us the opportunity to present our company and some features on our product. Liebherr is, Liebherr is today still a family-owned business, managed and owned by the Liebherr family. The third generation today are in place, holding the core of the company. The company was founded by Erc Cylinders in 1949, and he was the first one in Europe to invent a mobile tower crane that they call. Today, Liebherr is a leader in material handlers equipment, but also in many other fields. They manufacture appliances, they manufacture components for the aerospace. They're also involved in hotels, and many times you see in towns, you know, the big yellow tower crane there, rising up buildings. Well, often these are Liebherrs. With more than 41,000 employees all around the world, it's kind of, I'm proud to be part of that company. Today, we hope that we can share with you some features that will give you some appetite toward the Liebherr product, but also some interest to contact us when it's time to reevaluate the way you're doing things in your log yards. We did acquire lots of expertise with the last 40 years in that industry, and that expertise is there to be shared with our customer. So the two main products that you will see is the material handlers in the logging industry or in the recycling industry. So there's a wheel material handler that I'm sure many of you saw in mill yards, and there's also the track material handlers. Both are the same type technology, only the undercarriage differ from one to the other. When it was time to redesign the new LH series, LH for log handling, the engineering had some criteria in mind, and the challenges that they had was to increase profitability, increase the payload, handling capacity, but it can only be plus, plus, plus. It had to be minus somewhere as well. So they had to reduce the emissions with the new standards, and as well reduce the fuel consumptions. To come up with this, few systems and two key ones were invented. So the first one, which is the Lpe system, stands for Liebherr Power Efficiency. Liebherr is a fully integrated company. So we manufacture our own engine, our own hydraulic pump, our own control valve, own cylinders. So when I say fully integrated, the main components of a material handlers we control from A to Z. So this is how we can perfectly match the size of the pump based on the engine output that we have, the size of the valve that will control the flow, and as well the controllers of the machine that will direct orders to all those mechanical components to be efficient. This results as a really, really smooth operation machine, cost-effective on fuel consumption. And the second key was the ERC cylinders. The ERC stands for Energy Recovery Cylinders. So this cylinders is acting like a third cylinder on the main boom. This is the gray cylinder you see between the two yellow ones. That when you lower the boom, you compress nitrogen into that cylinders. So you do compress energy. And when you lift up the main boom, that energy is released, providing as much as 60 horsepower to the boom. So in some cases, when we bring the machine into the shop to do some maintenance, if we disconnect the attachment, which is the grapple at the end of the boom, if we don't turn out the valve, the boom in the stick would lift up by itself, just by the force, the energy into that cylinder. So you can imagine what type of saving you get every time that you do a cycle up loading woods or whatever material you do. So the next slide is a little animation that will show you how it works. No problem. Motion, compress the nitrogen into the cylinder, and it's released when you're going to boom up, operating. So you see, this is the view of the cylinder itself. So there's not really anything special into it besides its patent. And this innovation offered Liebherr the Innovation Award in 2010 at the Bauma exhibition in Germany. So combining the Lpe system, which is the perfect match on the components, with the Erc cylinders, these are some key elements that you get by maximizing your operation on the machine. So you reduce the pump RPM, so you're generating less oil flow into the system. So you can reduce the size of the cylinder on the main boom as well. And by reducing the flow, well, it's less heat into the system too, so you don't have to cool the machine as much as if you're using larger pump or larger cylinders. These are results that were achieved on real test in the field. So the first column is the handling, the tonnage per hour was increased by 5% compared with the previous model. The sounds level, the decibels, were reduced by 37% because we were able to reduce the engine RPM. And the fuel consumption was reduced by 25%. So not as late as last week, I contacted a customer that has both an older series with a newer series, and I asked him his results that he was happy to share with me. And his unit, without the ERC and the Lpe system, consumed for the last 90 days in the winter season, $22.83 fuel per hour, and this new unit was at $17.53, doing the exact same operation in the same yard, same conditions. So there's a saving of $5.30 per hour only on fuel. So. Thank you very much. This is it. Thank you. Oh.
else have questions? I don't want to be the only guy asking questions here. I do, and maybe it's for you and Frederick. I think I've heard something in the U.S. about Tier 4 emissions for diesels. Is that coming to Canada, or you guys, is your equipment already compliant?
Oh yes, oh yes. On some models, we're already receiving some units with Tier 4 finals. And depending on the horsepower and the size of the engine, we have a certain time to fully comply with the Tier 4 final. So like on the LH series, the example I gave you on numbers there, the Tier 4 final will be coming into North America in 2017.
North America? So it's coming
Yep.
to Canada
Yep.
as well?
Yep.
Okay.
We are on the same road than the U.S., so
Yep.
we don't have the choice. We have to follow them. And this is with the EPA, so that's it. And for ourselves, we're just gonna have, we're just gonna have our first Tier 4 in a few weeks.
Okay. And when is the deadline, or when is
As Dany answered, it depends on the horsepower
Okay.
and the size of the
so it's a
engine.
phased in?
And the quantity of engine that you import as well.
Okay.
In some units, that there's so many low units, the number is not important enough that is not necessarily regulated.
Okay.
But that being said, in Europe, they're already thinking and talking about Tier 5.
Oh,
So I hope they'll give us time to
get ready.
digest. Right?
Thank you.
Thank
Other
you.
questions?
Oh.
That's a very good presentation. Eric G. with the Southern Forest Products Association. I know Liebherr has their products in mining and aerospace. How much of Liebherr's business is devoted to, what's the market share or the share for lumber handling and wood yard solutions?
I'm going to speak for Canada. I'm not necessarily aware of all the numbers of Liebherr manufacturing, let's say, but Liebherr Canada, as far as the logging and sawmill operation, I would say that our revenue is probably 60% based on that industry. On normal times, right now, the scrap industry is down. You know, the price of scrap is really, really low. Normally, it's say 40-40, and then the 20 would be the mining and other sector. But as far as earth moving equipment, like we call this, right now the logging industry is our, I don't want to say bread and butter, you're going to cut me off on pricing when I quote price units now. But that's where we get the units right now.
My name's Ralph Spans. Got a question for both of you. We've been hearing an awful lot of fuel switching to low carbon fuels such as biodiesel. Have you folks been investigating the effects of biodiesel on your engines and performance?
I don't have an answer to this. I'd be more than happy to research it though, for biodiesel, but I don't know if I can give you my card and maybe you can get your contact information and I can do some research. Maybe, Frederica?
For the same for us, but you have to consider that first, normally your engine got us enough flexibility to have a biodiesel, but for the rest, well, we're not, I didn't see nothing on that for the moment. I don't know if you got something, I will be very, very interesting to have that.
Other questions for Dany? Okay, thanks very much, Dany.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.